Pick. Lena.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Global Esports Cup here on the GameShow D2 English channel. I'm Mikelorus. This time, going to be joined by, again, somebody a little bit new. It's going to be Lyrical Gangster. I don't know if you're the Lyrical Gangster or just one of many Lyrical Gangsters, but welcome to the stream, dude.
Thank you. There are many lyrical gangsters out there in the world, and I am just one of many.
All right, well, this is the step one to making sure you're the most recognized gangster.
Ooh,
I'm sure that's
exciting.
important to you.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely important. And these picks have been coming pretty fast so far already in this game. Lena, Undying, and Gyrocopter picked up, as well as the normal suspects banned on out early.
Yeah, Earthshaker perhaps a little bit early, but it is going to jam up Aspera a little bit. Lena Shaker, quite the opening if you could somehow manage to grab it, but not going to happen just yet. Aspera, just looking at these teams, probably one of the more notable ones. The other one being, of course, CIS Rejects, who are in the other group, it seems. So I think just with name recognition alone, lots of people would expect Aspera to be cleaning house, and I think that's probably a safe assumption here. ESB, I don't recognize actually any of these players, although their names might change when we get into the real game.
Absolutely. I actually did a little bit of research right before this game, and I saw that this entire lineup for Aspera just got switched over on the 24th of August last month, and then 7 days later they took third to in a championship, and then 14 days after that took first in the Uprise Championship Cup and 3-0'd another team in this tournament, also Walrus Punch. So doing really, really good with this new squad so far.
Aspera, just with their usual shell of heroes, had a lot of potential. Arzeek has been around for a long time with Afterlife, I think, for a long time, and actually Arzeek was on Vega way back when, so yeah, Aspera definitely have an experienced captain at the helm, and they have a pretty good opening as well. Lena and Tusk. It's a lot of damage, first of all, coming out of these two. It lets you play aggressively, but it also doesn't really slack on the defensive power either. Tusk, especially with that snowball.
Definitely. And, you know, you can sort of see a kind of similar thing up in the top as well for the Dire here in ESB. You've got Undying, who, you know, considerably is thought about almost always as being able to have this, like, tremendous presence in lane and being able to drop down that tombstone. But Soul Rip as well, keeping somebody alive a little bit longer. I'm curious how they're going to deal with this, keeping this Gyrocopter alive, because Lena Tusk, oh, and there it is a really strong combo. And Dazzle is definitely the predominant pick to be able to keep that Gyrocopter alive. Oh my god.
Oh, we're going deep early, man. It stops for no one. Okay, this is something that I've seen Arzeek play in the past. Mixed results. Sometimes it seems like he's just not doing anything, but other times he's just everywhere with suicides in mind. So hopefully for Aspera, it's going to be one of those times where he is in fact everywhere. It is a little bit difficult to actually get these kills since ESB already have this Dazzle, who is sometimes going to be that suicidal mind clearer, but Grave on the target that's being targeted with the snowball into suicide, well, you actually just can't get the kill there. So Aspera going to waste no time grabbing the techies, and as entertaining as it is, I'm not convinced that this is the best opening up against a Dazzle and an Undying.
Yeah, definitely, particularly Undying. Like, it's true that this means that the only, you know, Gyrocopter doesn't have a huge range. Dazzle is going to be able to deward as well, but Undying's really tanky as well. And Gyrocopter, I guess once you get towards the later same, great pickup as well. The TA, those refraction charges are going to do work against the mine. So particularly picking the techies this early just seems not bad necessarily, but very all in. And we'll see how that works out for him.
Templar Assassin also has a pretty decent matchup up against the Lena, and Aspera, just as a team, don't really have many great tools at grinding through those refraction charges. Lena, you really don't want to waste any of your nuking power running that up against refraction TA. It just feels so bad when that happens, especially if it's a Laguna Blade. Fingers crossed that we don't see that from Lena. Again, we just saw in the last game. But yeah, Templar Assassin now for a little bit extra damage for ESB, and they have a pretty well-balanced draft. Like, they have the defensive power from the Dazzle. They have the early game power of the Undying, Templar Assassin, Gyrocopter, and it does scale well in the late stages. What they lack, however, is crowd control. They actually just have none.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we'll see that sort of resolved with this last pick here. But drafting strategies, this is kind of interesting to me because earlier in the day we saw a level 1 Roche strat by a team that wasn't well known against CIS Rejects, and this time we're seeing the team that's more well known going for a little bit more of the clowny play. That's kind of interesting to me. I kind of would have imagined that we might have seen it coming from the other side, but Aspera feeling comfortable in their play, and it's certainly viable. I mean, you saw it all over the place a couple months ago and still around in the meta currently. That might be changed today potentially with 6.85 maybe coming out.
Oh, is that
Cross
today?
your fingers. I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought. Okay, I think it's this week or something like
Right.
25th. I want to say.
Ugh,
I don't know.
that'd be
That just might be some random date of something else. But sometime this week, yeah, we may see a little bit of a change here. But I don't think Techies is going to get nerfed. I think he's pretty well positioned. Phantom Lancer going to be the pick for Aspera. Definitely a hero that I would associate with old Aspera. I'm not too sure about the new squad. And, well, it's a carry hero, first of all. And it's a carry hero that does kind of abuse the fact that ESB have no CC. No answer to the doppelganger. They can chase him down with Sonic Traps to some degree, but that's not super effective. You know, if they were going to go for, you know, the super mobility type carry, usually Ember Spirit would be a little bit better, but Phantom Lancer, I think, is just good enough.
I think the other thing here is that he's pretty decent in lane, considering you're probably going to be seeing the Tusk techies together, and he can be okay with just another lane support there. I think that, you know, particularly against the Undying, he can have some troubles there because the illusions do spawn zombies as well, if I do remember correctly, and that can be a bit of a trouble, but that's not going to be a problem until he gets 6, and until he gets 6, he's fairly decent on his own with that doppelganger that you mentioned. So I like this pick a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. They need somebody who doesn't need a ton of, like, they can't pick an anti-mage here, obviously, just get sort of wrecked on by the Undying potentially. So I think this is a good one, and I'm expecting to see another support that maybe has similar bursty qualities to be able to deal with that gyrocopter, but I don't know. It's still tough with that Dazzle and the TA there. Probably some DOT.
Yeah, just killing off any of the ESB heroes is going to be a real struggle. Undying, especially just difficult to kill as is Templar Assassin, then you got Dazzle behind them. It seems like Aspera are angling for dual lanes, I want to say, and it seems like ESB have that same read at having banned out the Bane. Most likely it's going to be Lina mid, Tusk Techies in a lane, and then Phantom Lancer +1 in a lane, and well, it doesn't really matter too much as long as it's range. You should be good to go in that lane, but we got Spirit Breaker to be banned out, going to restrict ESB's aggressive power just a little bit. Still, ESB have to play stuns and silences and whatnot at a premium, and Spirit Breaker would have been a decent one. Bloodseeker not available, that would have also been really good for them. What's left? They are probably going to angle to put this Undying in the offlane, so just a supporter with a stun.
I think a lion. I think a lion would be pretty good here. Be able to get that extra control down. Also, you know, draining Techie's mana in the early stage is just such a pain. It's really difficult to be able to keep that up. And, you know, in the later stages, if PL ends up getting a Manta or something, you can obviously insta-kill those illusions or just figure out which one's the real doppelganger. Phoenix? Really?
Radiant team pick.
Well, yeah, I could see it. This is going to shove the Undying over to a more supporty role at 4 position Undying, which I don't think is quite as good as the off-lane Undying or like dual lane Undying, whatever. I have seen some teams run Undying Phoenix as a dual lane. I don't understand what the point of that is. It never seems to work. And now a Shadow Demon is picked up for Aspera, making it even possible for a tri-lane. But, you know, Shadow Demon, Phantom Lancer, you get some siege power there. It's an answer to the Phoenix's Icarus dive away if you are quick with your fingers. The Phoenix doesn't have to worry about a ton of CC from Aspera. The attack speed, though, is pretty high. I'm not sure if this Phoenix is necessarily the best pick.
Yeah, the other thing is they don't have a reliable stun now besides the homing missile, which is kind of tough. The other thing here with this Shadow Demon pick, there's a couple of things that I'm looking at. One is that there is always the combo of the Shadow Demon Lina as a roaming support with a solo offlane techies and then Tusk mid, which is almost never seen. But whenever I see those two heroes together, Shadow Demon and Lina, I always think about that setup because you've got the Disruption, which is a 2.5 second banish, and then on top of that, 1.6 second stun with the Light Strike Array. So you end up getting a total of 4.1 seconds of disable, which is pretty impressive. And then the second part of it as well is that if they do just run this Shadow Demon in that offlane position with like a tri-lane, as you were talking about, you've got the potential there to be able to catch somebody through grave or set up Techie's mines up top as well by banishing them on top of mines. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but it would probably be the more conservative and normal play to see the Shadow Demon go in the safe lane. But with the Techies in play, there's always questions abound.
Huh. Techies is going to the safe lane, so yeah, I officially have no idea what these lanes are going to look like, but you could always have that Shadow Demon and Lina combo as like a roaming kind of thing, where Shadow Demon is always on the roam and Lina's sticking in the mid lane. So then you have Shadow Demon kind of playing that Earthshaker role. It's like a budget Earthshaker, but let's see who's going to be playing what for everyone. Aspera, they're going to send Afterlife on the Tusk. Have been seeing some sick plays out of Afterlife on his Tusk in the past. Our Zeke looks like he's going to be playing the supporty techies with working on the Lina. I don't know who this Phantom Lancer is, and Flo is on the Shadow Demon. Mines, how many are these? 2. That's not going to be enough to kill an Undying nowhere close, but ESB, they are spotted right now completely with an Observe Ward placed.
Yeah, and we got Maguli here who's going to be playing the Undyne. Cold Siemens is going to be playing the Dazzle. We also have on the Gyrocopter 2001. Fozzie with the Double Carrots is going to be playing the TA. And last but not least, Fake God, who's going to be playing the Phoenix. Lots of action down here in the bot, but nothing really coming of it. They have been able to spot out the Dire, but I don't know if the Dire spotted the location of those mines.
Yeah, they might think that it's a little bit closer to the secret shot pathing, like in this little circle area. Maybe a little bit closer to the trees is usually a little bit more common spot to put the mines, but 3 mines should be enough to, I mean, it's definitely enough to kill off the Dazzle. Still not sure if it's enough to kill off the Undying. Definitely the Gyrocopter will blow up, and with Alina in the lane as well, you should feel pretty comfortable that you're going to be getting those kills. Looks like it's going to be Shadow Demon and Techies. It's a slow combo, but it's a very explosive one in every sense of the word. A little bit better once Techies gets to level 2. Once you get that, and somehow if a Soul Catcher should land, yeah, you're going to be getting some pretty easy kills.
Definitely. This is super interesting. I kind of like this because normally you expect to see that Tusk down there as well, but it is going to be tri-lane against tri-lane. It's a little bit harder to set up that the Suicide Squad attack when you've got a bunch of other people hitting you, but we'll see how that goes. I'm very curious, and I might need to be playing this in my pubs later if it works.
Problem is that once you pick up Techies, everyone just loses their faith in you. Because it's like, oh shit, we got a Techies picker. Might as well just not even play, but we'll see if anyone is actually going to run into these mines. The Radiant team has to be very careful to make sure that they don't draw the aggro of the Dire Creeps into those mines, but outside of that, ESB, I think they just have a stronger tri-lane. Like, Undying versus 3 is exactly what you want. Gyrocopter is a powerhouse in this scenario. And Shadow Demon doesn't actually do that much except for setup, like, pretty much ever. He will eventually do some sort of extra damage once he gets that Soul Catcher, but even then, it's kind of mediocre. So, Aspera just really want to get some farm in this lane. If they get mine kills with Techies, they'll be golden, but okay. Lina killing off Templar Assassin with Bottle in tow. TA should not be dying in this lane, at least not yet.
Yeah, definitely. I think probably a bit of a misplay can happen from time to time, but as you said, definitely shouldn't be the norm there. And Lina with the salve is going to be very, very far ahead. And across the board, if you're taking a look at those last hits and denies, Radiant is just kind of owning, including Techies with 3 last hits. The same as Gyrocopter right now. And oh my goodness, they're going to end up initiating onto him. Soul Catcher down as well. Is it going to be enough to get the kill? 2001 dipping low, but there's the grave. Woo!
Unfortunate for our Zeke that he was just short of the mana required for that suicide, which would have definitely made that another kill for Aspera, but that's the power of this combo. That's the sheer upside of this combo with no downside. I don't expect that combo to actually land too often, since if there's an Undying Gyrocopter there and a Dazzle at the same time, you're going to have to work a lot more to actually get that set up to work. But still, these mines are posing a threat, and still, ESB haven't run into that just yet, but as you said, the CS is going into the Radiant's favor in quite a big way. Mid lane, getting that solo kill is almost completely being won by this Lina, and once she gets Laguna Blade, it's going to be even worse for the Templar Assassin. Up towards top, Fake God, 3-0 versus the 12-5 for Tusk. You'd expect the Tusk to be doing well in this lane, but you would expect the Phoenix to be doing a little bit better than 4 CS.
Definitely. Phoenix is one of those super underrated laning heroes where you get the minus attack speed out of it that just is completely and totally wrecking you as long as you're able to hit them. It's really putting a lot of onus, I feel like, down here on this bot lane to make sure that they make some stuff happen, because so far it's really not working in the other lanes, and thankfully they were able to keep 2001 alive at that last time. And you mentioned the Suicide Squad attack not being up. Ooh, might be a little bit of initiation in here. 1101 getting some rocket barrage, but they're not going to chase through the mines.
Yeah, they're too scared. They do place a random sentry, and this is going to spot the landmines. So it looks like this stack is actually not going to do a ton, so it's unfortunate for the Aspera side. But still, they're getting an okay amount of farm in the Phantom Lancer, in fact, more than 2001, which is something that really should not be happening on this bottom lane. Techies is pretty much fully in charge of the pulls and the stacks and the jungle and whatnot. His mines are unfortunately all going to get cleaned up. But still, he's level 2 and he has significant threat. And really that's all you have to get on this bottom lane. You have the setup, you have the damage, that's enough to get kills. And as long as they're keeping Gyrocopter off the lane, this is an unsuccessful tri-lane for ESB. They need to be getting farm kills or denying the Phantom Lancer farm. And really none of that is happening.
Definitely. They are going to be stacking on up the Ancients here, but that stack actually doesn't end up working for the Undyne, unfortunately. And the other thing here is that normally with Grave, it's set up and you're able to apply it because of a stun. But with the Banish problem, you're not going to be able to get it all the time necessarily because they're going to be coming out, and if you time the Suicide correctly, you won't have time to Grave. So it creates a unique challenge for the Dazzle there that I haven't really thought about too much before, but thinking about it more now, it's really kind of a creative way to solve the Dazzle problem with techies.
Solve the Dazzle problem with techies.
Yeah.
A phrase that I never thought I would actually hear ever. But yeah, I mean, it is difficult to actually get that Grave off. It may even be impossible if our Zeke just is fully committed to giving his life for that kill. I don't think the Grave is... it's castable. Like, you just take too long to cast it. At least for Dazzle, you don't have to worry about, graving an enemy. That's just not possible. But yeah, it's going to be really difficult if 2001 gets put into a bubble. Suicide Mines, it's a lot of damage. Level 2 lances up as well for the Phantom Lancer. Doesn't have any Doppelganger yet, but so far he's been unpunished. In fact, ESB, they've been really hesitant to make any sort of aggressive move on anyone in this bottom lane. In the meantime, it's Tusk to get a solo kill up towards top. Walrus Punch is up, and Phoenix just got a face full of it. Tusk is continuously dominating this top lane. This is not supposed to be happening at all.
You just look at the across the board right now, net worths as well. The top 3 heroes are the top 3 cores for the Radiant. And it's not by a huge margin yet, but pretty big. Each lane is pretty significantly far ahead. Lina, 3,000 net worth. Tusk, 3,000 net worth. That's actually pretty significant. Never mind, I was completely wrong. They're crazy ahead right now. Really impressive work so far by the Radiant.
Lina is level 7 versus a level 5 Templar Assassin. That's a pretty disgusting advantage for her. It's a matter of time, I think, until this Lina decides, or runs into a good rune, Haste, Invis, something like that. Not Illusion, that's not what you want, and then, pays a visit down to this bottom lane. Then things get really messy for ESB. Alternatively, they can put the Techies and the Shadow Demon on the roam. Well, they're going to at least spot out the stack status. Not really super high right now, but, I mean, when these two heroes leave the lane, especially the Shadow Demon, this is the time where ESB should be pulling the trigger on this bottom lane. Go super aggressive. Look for some sort of Rocket Barrage play, even though they don't have a ton of Disable to back it up. They're not able to actually poke at this PL at all, and now the heroes are back. Suicide level 2. Dazzle is just dead to that. Yeah, I think even without Curse Landing. So this is maybe Aspera looking to get a little bit more aggressive. Ward going to be dropped, so they have pretty good vision. And here we go. Tusk is going to come right in. Phantom Lancer going to charge into Mowgli right now. Who's going to put into the bubble? Tombstone is deployed. Mowgli already dropped very low. Landmine can do a lot of damage. In fact, destroy the Tombstone. Grave is there, but they're instead going to snowball into the Dazzle. Walrus punch him up. He gets put into a bubble, which is a little bit awkward. However, I don't think he's going to survive this anyway. Techies does grab the kill on the Undyne with an auto attack, and now Cold Seaman is going to die to the Shadow Poison. Low damage tools and the auto attacks from Techies and the poison from the Demon, but they do get 2 kills nonetheless in a total 2-0 exchange.
That was really cool. You saw there that they thought that they were going to be able to make sure they got the kill down on the Undyne after the Grave wore out, and so they opted to put the Dazzle in the bubble there to ensure that, we'll come back, we'll deal with you later, take care of the Undyne once that Grave wears out. Just really, really solid execution here out of Aspera. And ESB is going to have a tough time with it. Oh, here comes the Suicide. Dazzle's not here. This is going to be a dead Gyro. Really nicely played there. Woo!
Suicide squad attack into Walrus Punch. It's the Tusk Techies combo, pretty much textbook play there, and Gyrocopter is nowhere near tanky enough to withstand that. He is going for power treads, in fact has it once he responds, but still that's just not enough. This damage combo with such a high level Tusk, level 8 in fact, that's way too much for any hero to realistically survive through, and Techies should be prioritizing the Suicide once he gets his 5th level, but right now they're going to put Arzeek on the top lane. They want to get this Techies level 6, and I think that's worth their time because this Afterlife Tusk can do so much more on the roam as we've already seen. He's going to stick around on this bottom lane, and, well, Undying, now Phoenix here, and the Dazzle, like, I don't really know if this is actually helping out this lane for ESB by adding this Phoenix. It might just be hurting them since Arzeek is getting now a 1v0 lane up towards top.
Yeah, and the other thing here is like for a little while there was nobody on this side of or on the other side of the river or the mid lane. Like they were all over here. Nobody getting it as you said up in the top lane. Ooh, 2001. Yeah, they're going to be safe. There's a lot of heals in this lane now, but like you said, it's just it's not super efficient. You're potentially going to even I don't think Techies can really take the tower solo, but he's at least going to be able to get a lot here.
Well, Techies is a really good demolition hero. Oh, landmines. Phoenix is going to run right over them. Forced to use his sun super early. They drop the tombstone. Afterlife should be fine. Just walk out of here, though. In fact, going to snowball out, so he's going to leave in style. That's Supernova and Tombstone down for a little bit of HP off the Tusk. I'm pretty sure that's just not worth it. But that's just unfortunate dive there from the Phoenix. Flew right over some mines and, well, got a face full of it. 5-0, and she's going to dive again, trying to go for this Phantom Lancer. Doppelgang will keep the Phantom Lancer safe. And in the meantime, Lina's going to destroy a tower over in mid lane. Double damage rune doing work there. Still bottom lane, a very tense situation. Afterlife going to find himself an Undying. He doesn't really want to commit any tools to this Undying since he is so tanky. But Undying also has no mana. Ice Shards are going to wall him off from his escape. There's the bubble. Where's the follow-up? Seems like there is none, but the Shadow Poison is being thrown. They have the curse on him as well. That's 3 stacks of poison. That's a lot of damage. But there's just not enough follow-up, it seems. Oh, shards? 3 stacks? No. Soul Rip will be fine.
I wonder if the Shadow Demon would have popped it right then before he was able to get the Soul Rip off, if it would have been enough damage. I don't think so, but something that's worth pondering. Pretty cool. Regen rune down there as well. Going to be picking that one up on the Tusk, so he can pop back right on in whenever he wants to. And you're just seeing the rotations coming on over towards this bot lane when they need it, and then spreading out and farming afterwards. Lina's taking the hard camp of the Dire. All in all, Radiant is looking really solid. And to top it all off, it's 5-0. It's been a really great match for them so far. And she almost has her Yules too. Oh my goodness.
As if she needed any more help in getting these kills, right? Once that's up, then, well, the Undying might not get 100 to 0. Maybe the Templar Assassin will be having those refraction charges up when she lands. Like, it purges off the charges, but when you land, you can jam the button. Maybe you get it off in time if the Lina botches the combo a little bit, but yeah, this Lina's going to be an absolute powerhouse. Our Zeke has been pushing up this top lane, now has his remote mines, and with the landmines doing quite a bit of damage to the tower, it's fortifiable, but will drop anyway, eventually, and I don't think the Phoenix can actually get a deny here. If he tries, most likely the bird will just get popped, and yeah, it looks like the tower will be dropped. Merkin is going to leave, easy peasy. 5-0, and Aspera are just getting a lot more done with a lot fewer heroes. Like, ESB have committed so many heroes to this bottom lane for now 11 minutes, and what have they actually done? Nothing. Like, they have done no damage to the tower. They haven't gotten any kills. They haven't even stopped the Phantom Lancer from farming. This tri-lane is just wasting heroes.
Yeah, you take a look at the net worth difference right now. 7,500 for Aspera at 11 minutes. EXP, it's 4K as well. It's just really, really... And the kills are good. The kills are fine. But you don't get 7,500 net worth lead by 5 kills at 11 minutes or 12 minutes now. You get that just by farming really efficiently. We've been seeing these stacks get taken by all of the heroes for the Radiant. Shadow Demon consistently making sure that they're going. Ooh, more damage coming on out there. Get it again. Tusk Techies, what more can you say?
Oh, and now the lift up on the Undying drops into an LSA, and well, Undying wasn't that healthy to begin with. Afterlife just can't land the Walrus Punch because everyone is dying too quickly. First world problems for the Tusk. Feels bad, man. He is packing 2,200 gold, however. Blink Dagger, probably the pickup for Afterlife. Although, honestly, like, you're so far ahead, he could probably go for anything and it will work out. Yeah, the solo kill potential or, like, small squad kill potential of Aspera is huge right now. And now they're going to juggle 1101 out of this bottom lane into the mid lane and put the Lina down here. Aspera are making just such great rotations, and ESB are awkwardly putting this Phoenix up on top lane to get some experience. Fozzy is going for a Desolator, which is nice, I guess, but Fozzy has done nothing in this game and doesn't seem like she's in a great position to start doing anything. If she tries to go in for Alina, she's going to get lifted, or the Shadow Demon's going to cast Disruption, or Snowball. Like, it's so hard for Templar Assassin to actually walk in and do damage in this type of game. She needs a Blink Dagger.
Really, it's absolutely true. She needs so much, because if she does go blink, then she also doesn't have the damage. Like, no matter what situation you're in right now, it's a really tough one. And I think part of it is just because this great start that they got off to, the fact that, you know, as you mentioned, the snowball there on Tusk, he's level 9. It's maxed out. He hasn't taken any points in Frozen Sigil. He is just going straight damage right now. Lena's got, you know, her Yules as well. It's so difficult to really do anything at this point in time. And I think to some extent, there is the chance that their 5-man could be stronger. You're seeing the groups of 2 go around, as you talked about, and there's the lift. Oh, doesn't hit the Light Strike Array, actually. They are going to do a call down on top of 2. Afterlife's going to go down, and now they're going to be able to make something happen here, potentially onto Flow as well. We are going to see the Lina probably be able to get away, but that was pretty good right there. Really, it was the missed Light Strike Array, I feel like, though.
It was something for the ESB side. They kill a Tusk, and at this point, Tusk is worth 1,000 gold, 1,000 experience. Not too bad there for ESB, but they also end up losing the tower. Though getting the Tusk kill is nice, they definitely need a little bit more than that, or a little bit better than that if they're going to get back into this game. Flo is going to run to Fozzie right now, and Lena's going to solo kill the Dazzle in the meantime. Rocket Barrage from 2001, not quite enough to instantly kill off this Lena, but with another barrage, should be able to get it, especially with a body block coming in from Flo. He's going to end up killing off his friendly Lena. Now he's going to have to deal with this tower dive. He has no TPs coming in. Looks like they're just going to sacrifice their Shadow Demon. He's going to put himself into a bubble. That's not really going to do that much. He's going to die eventually. To Fozzie, it seems. That's the completed Desolator now for the TA. 8-3 and ESB getting a break. But this is also dealing with only 3 heroes. Techies is still on top lane, still farming it up, has Soul Ring and Arcanes, and 1101 has Vlad's, has 1,800 gold in the bank, would expect a Diffusal Blade at some point in this game. Aspera are fighting with like just a skeleton crew of heroes, and they're, yeah, this time failing, but overall, they're not doing too bad with just 3 people.
Yeah, I think the big problem, like we were talking about with that last fight also, was diving maybe a little bit too deep, and ESB made the correct decision. They grouped up as 4 to 5. I think it was just 4 for that time around. Went up against the 2, and that's going to be how you sort of have to come back from this deficit, is try and 5-man a little bit. And they've got decent 5-man. You know, you've got the Undying Tombstone, as well as Soul Rip and all the other fun stuff there. Once Dazzle gets 6, Weave is pretty big as well. Egg, Call Down, you know, it's all good stuff from them. And now with TA having the Deso as well, that kind of, like you said, it's going to be tough, but if they're sort of dealing with the other heroes, maybe she's able to find her way in behind them, potentially. It's tough to tell, but it gets a lot harder now that Aspera is starting to 5-man as well.
We're going to follow Aspera. They really do excel at these smaller engagements, get in, get out, lift up onto the Gyrocopter LSA. Laguna Blade available with the Grave there. She's going to hold on to that for one for now. That will still get the kill. Call down is there, and Tusk actually going to start snowballing. That's a bad place to be. He actually has a Glimmer Cape, but it's on cooldown, unfortunately, so Afterlife is just completely boned now. Poor Tusk. Yeah, that's just not going to work out, so it's sacrificial Tusk there, but still, trading the Tusk for the tier 2, I'm pretty sure ESB are going to be okay with that, but Aspera shouldn't feel too upset about that either.
Yeah, it was definitely not what they wanted to have happen. I think that's pretty obvious. But like you said, it's not the worst thing in the world. I do have to say, though, that dying twice in a row, kind of a little bit scary. You know, Tusk is one of those heroes that he can really get out to a huge start, become this force to be reckoned with, and then you end up, Laguna Blade coming down, able to take down the TA, not able to get those refraction charges up after the Yule Scepter. But he's just one of those heroes that can completely and totally swing a lead back into the enemy's favor if he ends up getting caught out one too many times. So hopefully he's able to come together a little bit more now and make sure that doesn't end up happening.
Lena, a very similar hero in that regard. If she gets a little bit ahead, she can make your game a living hell. If she dies, though, she's holding on to a pretty decent kill spree. She's 4-1-0 right now. Blink Dagger and Yule Scepter. She's holding on to an absolute cannon. But she's also super fragile, less than 1,000 HP. ESB will have no problem whatsoever at killing off Lena if they're actually able to jump on her. But man, she's playing things really aggressively up on this top lane. She has no support anywhere close to her, yet still she's pushing in. Our Zeke is, doing his thing in the Dire Secret shop. He has Suicide as kind of his backup plan, but doesn't have enough mana to cast that. ESB are unable to actually make plays on any of these heroes. And while this is happening, Shadow Demon's getting some experience and levels down towards bottom lane. Again, Aspera are just managing the heroes a little bit better than ESB, who are kind of just all standing around the mid lane doing nothing. Like, they're not actually getting any CS, no pressure. Top lane's being pushed in. Like, they have to dissolve this quad lane in the mid lane sooner or later. And it seems like they will run to the top lane and deal with this Lina problem. But Lina and Phantom Lancer, yeah, it's powerful enough to actually 2v3, I feel, if Aspera actually are able to get the initiation off of the Yules.
And they also have a couple Techies mines in the area also. They do end up TPing on out, and the whole time that Techies was mining over by the secret shop, ESB did have complete and total vision of this from these wards here, which were just out of range of the sentry ward, unfortunately. But I think that, you know, they can sort of consistently do this and play aggressive like you were talking about because they're all sitting mid. You know, if you did end up rotating a couple heroes up there earlier to Lina, it was a couple of minutes there, not a couple minutes. It was probably like 20 to 30 seconds or so of everybody just sitting mid while Lina pushed up top, and we're kind of seeing that again here down on the bot tower with the PL kind of doing whatever he wants. Does have the TP as well as the Boots of Travel. Always nice to see that one. I'm sure he's going to end up selling that one away in a second, but Undying moving over to try and contest a little bit. Really scary to run into a Phantom Lancer like that, though.
Aspera are just like playing this rat Dota game that I'm pretty sure was not in the game plan, but it's just like so easy for them to do that they're gonna do it anyway. Like this tower, no defense from ESB. It's literally just the Phantom Lancer here doing all the damage to the tower, and he will end up destroying it. Maybe ESB get the tower denied, but no, that's not gonna happen. PL just walks in by himself, takes a 2-2 tower, teleports to the top lane, doesn't miss a beat, keeps on farming. Soon he'll have his Diffusal Blade. And ESB, they're very quickly losing map control with these towers, and I mean, it already seems like they have no map control since they're playing so scared. They have a good amount of vision up with just the observers and sentries and whatnot, but they're all bottled up in their base right now. It's only 20 minutes in the game. This should not really be happening, and oh, Gyrocopter can hit with the LSA down towards bottom lane. Laguna Blade, right clicks, is that enough? No, with the heal. The Undying will keep his buddy alive. Phoenix gonna dive forward, working, just gonna straight TP out, and they don't have any way to cancel this. Lena's gonna get back home safe and sound. Dual Scepter even because she can. 9-4 and Aspera, they are just, again, playing the split push game. It's so easy to do because ESB are doing absolutely nothing to stop it.
Yeah, and like the other thing there, and I just thought about it again when you were mentioning that they can't do anything to stop it. They really can't do anything to stop it at all. They have Sun, which is not going to interrupt the TP, and they have Homing Missile, which isn't leveled. And that's it. So there's one stun right now on this team, and pretty much across the board they can, as long as they're able to survive through a meld strike potentially, if TA is able to get up close to you, but again, TA doesn't have a blink dagger yet. They don't have anything they have to worry about at all. Nothing. It's ridiculous.
Soon it's going to be Roche time, I think. Templar Assassin will be able to maybe spot that if she's able to get a trap out, but Aspera, they have the Vlad and the Phantom Lancer, which should sustain him enough, especially once he gets his Diffusal Blade to kill off Roshan. They have a Sigil level 2 and a Medallion on this Tusk, so yeah, going for this Aegis for Aspera should be pretty easy. I mean, everything else that they've been doing has been pretty easy, so they might as well go for everything.
Absolutely.
A couple of mines from our Zeke are going to be cleared out, but not the secondary stack. I mean, yeah, ESB, they've been handling the techies pretty well. I don't think there's been any mine kills, but they've wasted so much gold trying to lock down this techies, and it seems like that's just not doing enough. Workin is going to actually wait for someone to walk up this hill. He's completely spotted, however. Call down is incoming. Afterlife Workin in a lot of trouble right now. Supernova is going to pop off. They're going to try to go for the Gyrocopter. The Grave's going to keep him alive. Workin is going to go into the Glimmer right now. You'll have to dodge the Eruption, but now he's going to have to blink out. Not in time. He'll drop into the Rocket Barrage, and he will fall. Lina is down, but bottom lane, ESB got to come back and defend, like right now, or 30 seconds ago probably would have been a little bit better, because this tower is going to take a lot of damage. At the same time, Afterlife is going to try to go for 2001 up towards top lane. Walrus Punch not quite going to get the kill. With the Solar Beam, they'll keep 2001 alive, but Afterlife will just glimmer on out of there, no problem whatsoever. Bottom lane, tier 3, still alive, as Foz is going to jump in for our Zeke. Suicide going to deny the Templar Assassin anything down there. ESB, they ultimately just get a Lina kill, which is still really good, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough to give them the confidence to leave their base.
Yeah, you kind of wonder at that point, like, if they would have, I think they were trying to stay in the jungle, find a pick off, and then go to do Roche. But with the amount of vision that they have in this area, I kind of wonder if they'd be able to, they are going to spot out this Observer Ward just now placed as well by the Radiant. That's a little bit too bad. ESB has been trying to turn it around a little bit at this point, and they've been doing a pretty decent job of it, but it's so hard against the lead that you've already sort of dug yourself a hole into. Maybe they're going to be able to turn it around here. They're starting to take back a little bit more map control. The warding has been pretty decent as well, but I feel like the Radiant can probably, if they wanted to, just set back into their own jungle, farm up a little bit, another item on this Phantom Lancer potentially, and they'd be perfectly fine until they end up going for another kill or something.
get the Phantom Lancer an ultimate orb item, whether that's Scotty or Manta Style. Honestly, don't really think it matters too much in this game. You know, maybe Manta Style a little bit better, but they have all the time in the world to farm for this PL. He's doing just fine, and oh, they're going to run to the Phoenix and crack him with his skull with the Laguna Blade. That is not even Agnimed yet from the Lina, but it is on the way. 1,300 gold until that is up. And Phoenix didn't really stand much of a chance there. Fozzie cannot really compete up against his Phantom Lancer with that mana burn. Cuts through the refraction really quickly, and Workin's still in the area. He unfortunately doesn't have a Laguna Blade, so Fozzie's going to survive for right now, but just 2 heroes up here from Aspera, posing a significant threat to ESB. They just have to wait a little while to get more mana on this Lina, and while that's happening, bottom lane, Arzeek is shoving that one pretty quickly with his Techie's Mines.
Totally, and he's trying to work on his Aghanims as well. About to get it in about another 1,000 gold here. On the Tusk, you see the Solar Crest as well. They've really been able to farm into their next set of items here, and I mean, if you're taking a look at the net worth across the board, every single one of the cores is ahead right now for Aspera. Net worth, we haven't really seen a huge blowaway, still about 7,500 and a 5k EXP lead, but keeping that consistent is still pretty big because it's about an item. Pretty much across the board. So been doing a pretty good job of continuing the farm on up. They haven't been farming their own jungle. They've mainly been farming ESBs, with ESB trading off every now and then as well.
You can see like in the graph, it's like Aspera are farming faster because, well, they just have more of the map to farm. ESB occasionally get a kill which dips it back down, but then Aspera just keep on farming again. So ESB, they kind of have to keep getting these kills, otherwise they're just going to get overwhelmed in gold advantage. And Aspera just have to stay the course, try to minimize their losses, or go for another objective, Roshan. It's about time they actually slid into this pit. And without the Phantom Lancer, well, I expected them to actually commit the PL into this. The TA does know that this is happening, but Aspera, I'm pretty sure, don't care. They have mines leading into the Roche pit, so anyone from ESB walking in has got to be real scared, especially with the stasis trap now down. This Roshan should be cleaned up pretty much without a hitch here from Aspera, most likely going to give the Aegis to this Lina. And yeah, that's going to be that. Only 300 gold now away from her Aghanim Scepter. And Aspera, how do they approach high ground? That's going to be the most difficult part of this game. They're walking into a Supernova, they're walking into an Undying. Can they pick off on Fozzie is a good way to start. Phantom Rush going to get the Phantom Lancer super close to the TA, though Meld is just going to nullify all that.
Yeah, I mean, you know you're ahead also when you're you can see, the enemy can see that you're taking Roche the whole time through, and they just can't do anything about it. But it's ESB is sticking in this game, and like you said, the high ground defense is something that's not to be overlooked, and I'm sure that Aspera is very well aware of it as well. The big thing, I think, for them is they need to try and get a smoke gank on through ESB's jungle and find a pickoff. And with Aghanims up now on Lina as well, I think they're in a really good spot to be able to do that. Maybe they don't even need to go for a smoke gank necessarily. I think it would be pretty strong right now, but the way that they've been playing, they probably could just do whatever they want, as long as they're not feeding in one by one into the whole team.
I think we're in a really weird scenario here where smoke ganks might just be obvious to Aspera. Like, ESB have not left their base in a very long time. Usually we see the scenario when Raxes are down. Like, if you have Raxes down in a lane and no one's defending it, then most likely the enemies are smoked up. But it's a very similar situation. Like, all lanes are pushing in. If there's no one who's actively going to be pushing that out, maybe ESB are just smoked up. So maybe Aspera are just going to see this one coming. And look at the bottom lane. We got a trail of remote mines. Follow the green barrel road. Fozzie is not going to get popped just yet, but this is the Techie's not with the intention of getting kills with these mines. These are pushing mines. He just wants to make sure that the creep wave is never really going to get out, I assume, unless he's not going to pop them ever.
Do you see, like, the entire eastern side of the map right now is just completely covered? It's ridiculous. This is almost as good as tree ags, honestly. It's so freaking much vision that you get from these mines, and they're able to see everything. And any type of team fight that they have, they're not relying upon one big mine cluster to get a bunch of kills. They've got a ton of little ones to weaken up the enemy before they end up getting into a team fight. Just really, really cool ideas here out of this little Techies combo that we've been seeing, and gonna deward him almost immediately, just make that dazzle all the more poor.
Top lane, Fozzie and 1101 gonna get into a fight. Phantom Lancer very easily able to pressure that TA out of the lane. Now traveling down to the bottom lane. Seems like Aspera want to go right now. They still have the Aegis on the Lina for quite a long time, and they just grabbed the Aghanim Scepter on the Techie, so a little bit more damage coming out of those mines. If you put a mine post sign right at the foot of the enemy tier 3 tower, that might get a little bit scary for ESB, and he will do that and just start laying mines. What the hell do you do against this? You just can't go past that line. They know that right now there aren't many mines there, but soon there will be, and soon that's going to hurt. 1101 is chipping at the tower, as is Lina from the low ground. And ESB, they gotta go. They're gonna call down. That's gonna connect onto the Phantom Lancer, dive through as well, but that Supernova is gonna do absolutely jack all, and now Gyrocopter demonically purged. This is a 10-second BKB charge. It's not gonna do anything. And the mines explode to kill off the Dazzle. ESB, they waste all their big ultimate tools, and Aspera, they have everything up still. It's time for round 2, and they're just gonna go right in again. Tombstone is still alive for a little while longer. Not too much longer. And Techies is still able to just place these remote mines at his leisure. 1101 and Fozzie gonna get into another fight. Solar Beam's gonna keep Fozzie alive for just a while longer as Workin's gonna jump right in, lift up the Gyrocopter, dropping the LSA. Now that's actually gonna miss. And 2001 is gonna walk away from that one. They do catch Fake God with the bubble, but they can't capitalize on that just yet. They're gonna go for the tower. Slow and Steady wins the race. Snowball in onto Mowgli. The Dragon Slave through, they'll kill off the Phoenix and the Undying in one go. That's a strike. And the Raxes are going to fall. The tower has fallen already. And 1101, he's going really aggressive right now at less than half HP. Yeah, it's probably not the best idea, but they could probably get away with this because they know that their retreat is going to be covered. Because the Mind Post sign is not going to fade for a very long time. 13-5 now, Rax is in favor of Aspera. Finally, they take a step in actually winning the game.
You asked how they go high ground. That's how you do it. You just bait every single spell out of ESB and then walk away. And they just did it. Like, that's all. It's really, really impressive what I've been seeing here. It's not just like, you know, that they've been rolling over a weak team. It's that they've been just playing really, really well together on top of it. Like, I've been very impressed so far by Aspera and everything that they've been doing. This Techies play just looks terrifying also. You've got so many mines up here that are dealing, what is that, 700 and something damage that you get from Remote's Magical. Oh, he doesn't have him level 3 yet. It's level 2, so 600 magical damage, which is still absolutely ridiculous. So, really impressed. The Sun was good if the fight was going to take place on the high ground, but Aspera was just able to walk away.
And it wouldn't be possible for them to walk away should ESB have any form of CC, but as we said before, they just don't. And now this bottom lane is just like dead for ESP. Anyone is just going to be able to stand here, blow up the wave, and then you can't actually try and punish that hero because you're walking into the minefield sign. You're going to get punished in some way, shape, or form. So now Aspera have 3 lanes to work with, and ESB only have 2. They're going to try to dive forward and look for this Techies. Maybe. No, never mind. They actually don't know that Arzeek is right here. Shards to fly. They're going to jump in with Fozzie. Arzeek, though, has Glimmer, and he's suicide ready if needed. That's BKB popped on Fozzie for, again, absolutely nothing. And bottom lane is still being pushed by this Phantom Lancer and Lina. They're just waiting for some poor sucker to come here and defend. And then they're going to pounce. While that's happening, Shao Demon's also pushing up top. ESB, they're just wasting resource after resource. Now they're going to jump in. Laguna Blade to kill out the Gyrocopter. In the tier 4s feels so bad, man.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous. And they're going to keep diving here. And there's absolutely nothing ESB can do to stop this. This is going to be a dead Phoenix. No, staying alive a little bit longer. TA going to get a little bit of initiation onto Lina as well. There's the Doppelganger to try and get away. I think Lina is going to end up going down here. Ended up using her Yules for the initiation. Mines, are they going to blow up? Oh my god! Oh, jeez! Oh, and Phantom Lancer might be able to make his escape. He's getting really low stick charges in 4. He ends up going down to the Desolator. Jumping on it again is the Tusk. Refraction charges, no, but we do have Shallow Grave, and he's going to end up staying alive through that. All the mines are gone, but I think that TA, blinking away at the last second.
Yeah, the Weave was pretty much at maximum there, so she had something like 30 armor total, so taking pretty much no damage from that landmine. It is Aspera to lose their Lina and their Phantom Lancer, and that is exactly what they don't want to do. That's actually going to catapult Templar Assassin to the top of the net worth chart. I still think that it's fine for Aspera to be making those types of plays since they are so grossly ahead, but they do have to be a little bit careful. TA now going to jump in, looking for Arzeek. You can't get this kill. He's just going to suicide or just straight TP away. That's good too. But that was, I think Aspera just wanting to bait ESB in there. Like, that's pretty much all they wanted.
Yeah, they didn't really care. I think that honestly, they're probably having a little bit of fun right now. They do obviously still want to take this seriously, but I mean, it's looking very dire. It's so hard to go up against the techies when you're this far ahead because, you know, it's not just the techies' minds that are killing you. It's also the fact that you have these other heroes that are farming on up the entire time. You know, PL, he can carry a game just by himself. So you need to keep accelerating in items, but you also need to be able to buy a gem. Your supports are already poor because you don't have even buying sentry wards all game. So maybe your carries have to buy a gem now instead. It's just so hard to push against this, and now that they've already lost the lane pretty much, I think that they just need to try and keep them off of their tier 4s as much as possible and call it good for that one, because that's the entire lane that Techies has been in this whole time. He hasn't really mined up anywhere else yet.
The thing is, like, Techies, much like Broodmother, once they take Raxes, can easily go somewhere else and set up shop. Now he has Yule Scepter, so even more mana regen, but crucially a defensive tool up against this Templar Assassin. Lina has her Travels up, and Shadow Demon has a Force Staff. Phantom Lancer is well on his way to an Eye of Scotty, and Tusk has a Blink Dagger, and of course Solar Crest Glimmer Cape. So Aspera getting quite a few big items. And for ESB, yeah, the Templar Assassin's doing pretty well. Gyrocopter has 2,000 gold, which isn't necessarily terrible, but yeah, you have to save for buyback if you're ESB at this point. Otherwise, if you die, it's just game over. But this is gold that the Gyrocopter is not actively using. Whereas for Aspera, they don't have to save for buyback. If they die, it's unfortunate, but they're not really going to lose that much. Like, tier 1s are still up. And if they lose tier 1s, I'm pretty sure they're not going to care that much.
Yeah, definitely. And Mr. Man is back up again in his own little pit over there. We'll see if they end up trying to rotate on over and make something happen with that. I would imagine with the amount of map control that they have, they are just going to end up going for it. But that being said, I don't know if this remote mine here actually ends up spotting Roche or not. But it doesn't, so they don't actually know that this is going on. TA is aware, and she will be aware once they end up going on in there to try and take Roche, but not having the complete and total vision right now of the Roche pit.
ESB's Gyrocopter just bought a Shadow Blade. You know, usually this is, especially on Gyrocopter, just a transition item because you need Shadow Blade to build it to a Silver Edge. I don't really even see much upside in that. Like, are you really planning on leaving your base now with the Shadow Blade? It would have been good like 15 minutes ago, but now it seems like you just need, you know, Scotty-ish type of survivability, a Butterfly, those types of items, not Shadow Blade. You don't have the map control to really use it effectively.
Honestly, I think another set of drums might have been better, just for the stats. I think, you know, obviously transitioning into Silver Edge later is good, but like, by the time he gets the gold for that, I think the game might be over. Like, they're going to end up going for Roche right now, and like you said, he just needs that survivability. They end up picking on up the Aegis. Looking really, really bad right now if your team ESB. We'll see if they're going to be able to make some type of response to this. But they do know, well, they probably don't completely know, but they probably should have some idea that there aren't a ton of mines mid. Maybe they can end up making something happen with an initiation. I don't know, it's tough. I think they're just going to have to defend high grounds.
Well, Fozzie is the most farmed hero on the map right now, so Templar Assassin needs to stay alive, needs buyback. Instead decides to go for Daedalus, so that raise for buyback is certainly on for Fozzie, but we have a similar scenario. The sign is down for our Zeke, and the remotes will flow. And for ESB, this is a really difficult situation to be in. There's absolutely nothing you can do in this circle. If you go in there, you may just die. You know, Fozzie might not because he has the refraction charges, and maybe Cold Siemens is going to prep someone with the Grave beforehand, and maybe our Zeke botches it. But while they're messing with this top lane, Aspera, bottom lane is pushing in, Phantom Lancer's shoving in the bottom lane real hard, and Aspera are slowly but surely going to take this tower down. Our Zeke has the landmines. That's a very good destruction tool. The rest of the base is also being claimed while we're talking. So, well, actually 2001 is going to get jumped on by the Phantom Lance, pops the BKB and the call down. That BKB, again, is just purely defensive. Will keep him alive, yes, but offensively, now it's not available. So if Aspera are going to go, it's within the next minute where that's not available. 2001 going to charge right into Mowgli, tear the Undying to shreds. He didn't stand a chance there. Now they're going to throw a lance at the Bait God. The Phoenix will lift himself into the air, but still swarmed with illusions, can get heavily beating. And oh, Dazzle. There was a Dazzle there. That's a one-hit KO with the Laguna Blade. They're going to jump with Walrus Punch onto Fozzie. He's down with no buyback. Bubble onto the Gyrocopter. Phoenix going to put himself into a bubble, but I don't think either of those two are going to end well for ESB. The Phoenix erupts, and not in a good way. 2001 on the run. Unfortunately, not into the mine, so our Zeke doesn't get his dues, but Lina certainly does. Triple kill for Workin, and Aspera finally close out the game. This was just a grueling game for ESB. They just couldn't get anything done.
Absolutely. And I think like one of the things that I think this really came down to again was that tri lane down there. You take a look at Undyne, he is level 11. You take a look at his farm. The only stat item that he had was an urn, and then the magic wand. Like he was just so underfarmed, and we were talking about the importance of having that tank there. So just didn't end up working out for him. A little bit unfortunately, but congrats to Aspera.
And guys, this is going to be the first game of this secondary group. We got Rez versus AFK coming up next. Don't really know how long, probably like 5-10 minutes, something like that. But I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Lyrical Gangster. If you enjoyed the cast, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Mikelorus for myself, at Lyrical Gangster for my co-cast. That's Gangster with a 3, not an E. There's only one E in there, so yeah, that's pretty clear. And yeah, we'll be right back for the next game. Don't go anywhere.